Social media makes veganism look effortless, ethical, and superior. But what if I told you that this is only the surface? That behind the perfect Instagram posts hides an industry just as destructive as factory farming. We see influencers showing off their green juices and oat lattes, preaching about saving animals and the planet. But how much of this is really about ethics? And how much is about trends, aesthetics, and social clout? Think about it. The rise of veganism coincides with the rise of social media. The perfectly curated lifestyle of vibrant meals, glowing skin, and an air of moral superiority is what sells. But is this truly about making ethical choices? Or is it just another performance for likes and followers? This is the reality they don't show you. This is the dark side of veganism. Behind every plant-based burger, behind every cruelty-free claim, there is an industry driven by profit, convenience, and illusion. Veganism, as sold by influencers and corporations, is not about sustainability. It is about branding. So, before you sip on that overpriced oat milk latte, before you proudly post your animal-free meal, ask yourself, are you truly making a difference? Or are you just buying into the latest marketing trend? Now, we've been told that going vegan will save the planet. That animal agriculture is the #1 driver of climate change. But is this really the full story? Or just another convenient narrative? Animal farming undeniably has a carbon footprint. But does eliminating meat actually solve the problem? The numbers tell a different story. Take soy, the backbone of many vegan products. Over 80% of the world's soy is grown on deforested land in South America, with the Amazon losing millions of acres annually. It's not cows tearing down the rainforest. It's industrial plant agriculture. And let's talk about almonds, the golden child of the dairy-free movement. One glass of almond milk may seem harmless, but did you know it requires 130 liters of water? Now multiply that by millions of consumers. California, home to 80% of the world's almonds, is in a perpetual drought. Every nut is sucking the state dry. Then there's the issue of transportation. Many plant-based staples, avocados, quinoa, and cashews, are imported from thousands of miles away. A green diet loaded with foreign superfoods racks up an enormous carbon footprint. Beyond just transportation, processing is another hidden culprit. While a grass-fed cow requires minimal processing, plant-based alternatives rely on industrial processing facilities, chemical additives, and mass packaging, all of which further increase their environmental toll. What happens when demand outpaces sustainability? Farmers push the land beyond its limits, leading to soil degradation, desertification, and ecosystem collapse. So while it's true that factory farming is a major environmental problem, replacing it with industrial-scale vegan farming isn't the miracle solution we're being sold. The true enemy isn't meat. It isn't plants. It's mass production and consumerism, disguised as sustainability. The real question isn't meat or plants, it's where does your food come from and how is it produced? The veganism promises a world free of animal suffering. But is that really the case? What if I told you that large-scale plant agriculture kills millions of animals every year? Each time a field is harvested, thousands of small creatures, mice, birds, rabbits, are crushed by machinery, poisoned by pesticides, or lose their natural habitats. The cost of plant-based agriculture isn't blood-free, it's just more hidden. Here's the harsh reality. Studies estimate that between 7 and 20 animals die per hectare during large-scale grain and vegetable harvesting. Over 3 billion animals, including insects, amphibians, and mammals, are lost annually due to industrial plant agriculture. Rodents are intentionally poisoned in crop fields to prevent yield loss, leading to slow and painful deaths. But it's not just about wild animals. Let's talk about the unseen victims within the food industry itself. Let's not forget, male chicks are still ground up alive in the egg industry, including for plant-based egg substitutes. Male calves in the dairy industry are still slaughtered, meaning vegans who consume plant-based dairy alternatives made by major dairy corporations are still funding this system. Farm workers in the plant-based industry face severe exploitation, with reports of forced labor and unsafe conditions. And what about human suffering? Many of the foods marketed as ethical, avocados, cocoa, and palm oil, come from industries rife with child labor, exploitation, and even modern slavery. Meanwhile, regenerative livestock farming, when done correctly, can restore ecosystems rather than destroy them. Studies show that responsible cattle grazing can improve soil health and increase carbon sequestration, enhance biodiversity, supporting insects, birds, and larger wildlife, provide ethical local food systems that empower farmers instead of large corporations. Veganism claims to be about ethics, but who really benefits? Is it the environment, the animals, the farmers? Or is it the corporations who profit from greenwashing their products under the label of sustainability? True ethical eating isn't about eliminating animal products altogether. It's about knowing where your food comes from and who really pays the price for it. And before you believe every ethical label on your food, ask yourself this. If something is truly ethical, why does it need millions of dollars in marketing to convince you? Real sustainability isn't about choosing plants over animals. It's about understanding that both have an impact. The question isn't what you eat, it's how it's produced. And the truth? A factory-farmed soybean field has far more blood on its hands than a responsibly managed farm. So, are we really saving animals? Or are we just shifting the suffering somewhere we don't have to see it? We hear it all the time that veganism is the healthiest diet. But is it really, or is it just another carefully crafted marketing narrative? Science tells a different story. Many people assume that cutting out animal products automatically leads to better health. But the reality? A poorly planned vegan diet can lead to serious nutrient deficiencies. Deficiencies that don't just impact your energy levels, but your long-term well-being. Here's what the studies say. Over 50% of vegans suffer from vitamin B12 deficiency, which is crucial for brain function and nerve health. Iron deficiency anemia is up to 6 times more common in vegans compared to omnivores. Omega-3, DHA, and EPA levels in vegans are significantly lower, increasing the risk of cognitive decline and inflammation. Zinc and iodine levels are often too low, affecting hormone balance and immune function. So, what's the solution? Many vegans rely on supplements to replace the nutrients missing from their diet. But isn't the whole point of eating naturally to get your nutrition from real food? And then there's the elephant in the room. Ultra-processed vegan foods. While traditional plant-based diets were once based on whole foods, today's vegan industry thrives on heavily processed alternatives. Let's take a look at what's actually inside these so-called healthy options. Beyond Meat and Impossible Burgers, marketed as natural, contain methyl cellulose, an additive also found in wallpaper glue. Many plant-based chicken alternatives are loaded with hydrolyzed soy protein, a byproduct that can cause inflammation. Vegan cheese substitutes often contain coconut oil and starch, which lack any real nutritional value. And the big question, are vegans actually healthier? According to large-scale health studies, the answer is more complicated than you think. Yes, some studies show that vegans have lower cholesterol levels and reduced heart disease risk. But other research shows that vegans have weaker bones, lower muscle mass, and higher risks of mental health disorders, particularly due to nutrient deficiencies. So, what does this mean? It means that veganism is not inherently healthier. It requires careful planning and supplementation to avoid major health risks. And if you have to rely on synthetic vitamins and heavily processed meat substitutes just to maintain your health, is that really a natural way to eat? The truth is, the healthiest diet isn't about exclusion, it's about balance. Whole, nutrient-dense foods, whether plant-based or animal-based, will always outperform factory-produced, ultra-processed vegan alternatives. If health is truly the goal, then maybe the best approach isn't cutting out an entire food group, but rather focusing on real, whole, unprocessed foods. Veganism started as a grassroots movement for ethics and sustainability. But today, it's a billion-dollar industry controlled by the same multinational corporations that profit from the very systems it claims to oppose. Let's talk numbers. The global plant-based food market is projected to reach $77.8 billion by 2025, driven by aggressive corporate expansion. Over 70% of all plant-based brands are now owned by multinational corporations. Major corporations like Nestle, Unilever, and PepsiCo have quietly acquired vegan brands, not for ethics, but for profitability. Here's the reality. Vegan alternatives are far more profitable than real food. Why? Cheap ingredients, premium pricing, processed soy, pea protein, and seed oils are low cost to produce, but sold at a premium. Higher margins. A plant-based burger often costs double that of a beef patty, despite its ingredients being less expensive. Government subsidies and tax benefits. Many corporations receive sustainability incentives for producing plant-based alternatives. But here's where things get even more disturbing. The very companies selling you plant-based products are still investing in factory farming. Nestle, for example, owns both plant-based and dairy brands, because for them, it's not about ethics, it's about business. And let's talk about marketing manipulation. The vegan industry spends hundreds of millions on influencer sponsorships, celebrity endorsements, and paid studies to create the illusion that plant-based is inherently better. The truth? It's all about branding. The same corporations that marketed fast food as healthy in the 90s are now repackaging processed plant foods as sustainable. And then there's greenwashing, the deceptive practice of making products seem environmentally friendly when they're anything but. Palm oil, a common ingredient in vegan spreads, is a leading cause of deforestation. Industrial soy production used in plant-based meats contributes massively to soil degradation and biodiversity loss. Highly processed seed oils used in vegan dairy substitutes are linked to chronic inflammation and metabolic disorders. And let's not forget the fast food industry. McDonald's, Burger King, and KFC all now offer plant-based options. But does this really mean they care about sustainability? Or is it just another way to charge premium prices for lower-cost ingredients? Hard cut to a side-by-side breakdown of the ingredient costs of a plant-based versus a traditional fast food burger. Marketing clips of fast food chains promoting their vegan revolution. So, if it's not about ethics, if it's not about sustainability, then what is veganism really about in 2024? The answer is simple: corporate profit. The same companies that created the fast food crisis are now shaping the plant-based future, not to save the planet, but to monetize the next big food trend. And while you pay double the price for a plant-based burger, believing you're making an ethical choice, multinational corporations are laughing all the way to the bank. After everything we've uncovered, the misleading marketing, the environmental destruction, the hidden costs, one question remains. If industrial veganism isn't the solution, then what is? The truth is, there's no single answer. No universal diet that works for everyone. No black and white choice between plant-based and animal-based. But there is a better way. A way that prioritizes nutrient-dense food, environmental restoration, and ethical sourcing. Let's break it down. We've been told that plant-based equals sustainable and animal-based equals destructive. But that's not the whole story. It's not about what we eat. It's about how it's produced. Here's what real sustainability looks like. Regenerative agriculture. Farms that mimic natural ecosystems, restoring soil health and capturing carbon. Holistic livestock management. Cattle that graze rotationally, improving pastures and increasing biodiversity. Local and seasonal eating, reducing the carbon footprint of food transportation and supporting regional economies. Minimizing ultra-processed foods. Whether plant-based or animal-based, heavily processed products are not sustainable. And here's something shocking. Studies show that regenerative cattle farming can actually sequester more carbon than it emits. That means properly managed beef farms can be carbon neutral, or even carbon negative. Compare that to industrial soy and almond farming, which depletes soil, drains water reserves, and destroys habitats. But it's not just about the environment. It's also about nutritional quality. Let's talk about food that actually fuels our bodies. Compare these two meals. A locally raised pasture-fed steak full of bioavailable protein, omega-3s, and essential minerals. A plant-based burger, ultra-processed, containing stabilizers, seed oils, and synthetic vitamins. Which do you think your body recognizes as real food? The truth is, we don't need extreme diets. We don't need corporate-approved sustainable products. We need a return to common-sense eating, choosing real, unprocessed, responsibly sourced food. That's the difference between industrial veganism and actual sustainability. Now, we started this journey questioning a belief, one that many hold without question. The idea that veganism is the ultimate answer to sustainability, ethics, and health. But now we see the truth. The story is more complex. It's not about choosing between plants or animals. It's about rethinking our entire food system, about choosing real food, real solutions, and real sustainability. It's about stepping away from corporate-controlled diets and returning to what we've known for centuries. Food should nourish, not deplete. Farming should restore, not destroy. Sustainability should be about balance, not marketing. Imagine a future where food isn't a product, but a relationship, where we know where our food comes from, how it's grown, and who grows it, where eating isn't about virtue signaling, but about real impact. We are at a crossroads. We can keep following the illusion of sustainability crafted by billion-dollar industries, or we can reclaim our connection to food. Food is not the enemy, and food is not just fuel. Food is culture. Food is life, and the choices we make today will shape the world we live in tomorrow. So the real question isn't whether veganism is the answer. The real question is, are we ready to break free from industrial food altogether and rethink how we eat? Real change starts with real food. The truth is out. The illusion is broken. But knowledge alone isn't enough. Change starts with action. Every bite we take is a choice, a vote for the kind of world we want to live in. Do we support industrialized, profit-driven food systems? Or do we choose something better, something real? This isn't about shaming. It's not about telling you what to eat. It's about awareness, empowerment, and taking back control. The real revolution isn't in a lab. It isn't a marketing trend. It's happening in farms, kitchens, and communities across the world. So what can you do? Start small. Buy local. Eat whole, unprocessed food. Support real farmers, not food corporations. Learn where your food comes from. Ask questions. Challenge the system. Because the truth is, real change doesn't start in a boardroom. It starts with you. Your plate, your power. Learn more, get involved, make a difference. If you want to see more eye-opening investigations, subscribe now and turn on notifications. Join our mission, share this video, start a conversation, and be part of the food revolution. Hit the like button if you believe in real sustainability. Comment below, what's one food change you're making today?